Today I have Professor Zoom from DC Comics, made by Mezco. I believe on the box it only says Zoom. Zoom is a different character, but I assume this is Professor Zoom and not Zoom. So here is his costume. It's pretty close, but I think different artists take different liberties. The big difference is that the lightning bolt across the stomach ends here and it's complete here. So other than that, it looks pretty much the same. So, it's a little different there. I think that's, yeah, so there's Professor Zoom. So it generally seems to, well, here's one where it is ending. So his costume has pretty much remained the same throughout, with just a few alterations. All right, so what I like about this figure is the simplicity of it. Just a straight yellow costume, no flourishes on it, no flourishes that are additional from what's in the comic. I guess maybe the only flourish is a little bit of design on his headgear, although that might exist in the comics too, I'm not sure. Now, there's a couple things. First of all, so this is a separate piece of plastic that's kind of bolted on. I guess it must be attached to the chest because it doesn't move around with the costume. This does move around, so it's clearly affixed somewhere back here. These are also separate, so his gloves, but they don't really move. They're clearly affixed to the character also. And there's his boots. His ankle movement is fine, so he stands easily, as I struggle to have him stand. Okay, there you go. But I like the sculpt of it. I like the shape of the body. Looks good. Looks believable. Now, the big issue with this character, and I only noticed it, I didn't notice it right out of the box, but it might have been there, and that's his white nose. So it's almost like the paint has come off. But I can't imagine that that's how they originally intended the character. So I'm not sure what happened, but I noticed it fairly early on. So like I said, it might have been like that out of the box. At first, when I saw that face, I was kind of like, ugh, because he is a really menacing looking, unpleasant looking fellow. But I think that's pretty good, because Professor Zoom is not a pleasant character. He's a villain, and that's a villainous look. His little wings here are pretty tight against the head, but they are sharp. You can feel that. So it's a very simple character. It's a very simple figure. Now, the one thing I did notice, and I noticed this on a lot of the Mezco figures, so you can see the stitching here is all kind of haphazard. So my assumption has always been that they make the cloth costume separately, then probably someone by hand attaches it and then probably stitches it up by hand rather than using a machine, which is probably why you see it looking a bit haphazard. So that's my assumption. Even though some might find it sloppy, it definitely, I mean, I'm not 100% sure, but I think it shows that these are at least partially handmade, which is pretty cool. I like that. And he's got the little wings on his boots also, and you can kind of feel it pointy. So this is another one of my Mezco figures. I mostly collect almost exclusively the DC characters, from Mezco, and that's a lot of what Mezco does. They do other things too, particularly Marvel, but they do really seem to be focused mostly on um, superheroes. But they also do a lot of their own characters or characters I've never heard of. So I'm not sure how much those sell, but I never had any interest in any of those other characters. All right, so that's Professor Zoom.